Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to the Rangers Journal. This is the Lowdown, and my name is Doug. We're here to have a look at another of Rangers' opponents in our first of our League Cup matches this season. We will be facing Alloa in our first tie as Alloa top to their group, a group including Dundee, who no doubt would have been looking to have performed better. Alloa, a team who beat Dundee, unlike ourselves. So as much as we're going into this looking for a positive result, I think with things as they are right now, nothing can be considered a gimme. But let's have a look at the current form of the teams going into this game. Obviously, we were coming off the back of our loss to Victoria Pleasant 2-1, albeit getting through the tie after the comfortable first leg. Still some performance issues in that game, so that we maybe let's say want to start addressing and seeing a bit more confidence from the team in the game that they're playing. We've still got a lot of draws in there. Just the one win in our last five. Currently, as we sit, Alloa, on the other hand, have 4 wins in their last five, suffering what I think was their first defeat of the season, 2-1 to Stranraer in their last game in the Challenge Cup. Otherwise, their League and League Cup games have been going fairly well for them. As I say, they beat Dundee 1-0 and Airdrie 3-2. Alloa Stenhouse 2-1 and a 1-0 to East Fife. So not a high scoring team. They are letting in goals there as well. So obviously we would be looking to exploit that with the significant extra quality that we have on the side. But funnily enough, our head-to-head record reads pretty even. The last sort of times that we've played Alloa were during our rise back up to the divisions through the SPL. So our head-to-head of our sort of last recent games currently sits at Rangers 4, 5 draws and 1 for Alloa. So stats that we want to start pushing back up in our favour a little bit more. So what can we expect from Alloa when we play them? Obviously, they're coming in with to the biggest team that they'll played so far, so there could be some slight defensive variations here, but they have been largely playing a 4-3-3 for the majority of their games. They're a decent possession side. They've averaged about just over 49.5% possession in their matches over the last sort of year or so. So they can keep possession well and look to play. They seem to favour attacking down the right-hand side. Having a look at sort of their passing maps for their last sort of 10 or so games. It does seem to be a lot comes down that right side, which may be to do with a talented youngster that they've got and a couple of other midfield players that kind of favour that side. So there's freaking lateral passes in their build-up. They can be a little bit horseshoe-like sometimes when they do come up against better teams or teams with set-up defences. They are sort of one of the better teams in their league at the moment, so they do look to attack. But that lateral passing will give us opportunities to steal the ball and turnovers and create more chances for ourselves from them being in possession. Last season, they did play a 4-2-3-1 for a lot of the season, or a 4-1-4-1 against stronger sides. So we may see a switch to that for this game rather than the 4-3-3 they've been playing. We'll also see how they decide to do that. But that would kind of make sense, obviously, looking to stay defensively rigid. And no doubt if they've seen the way that teams like Dundee have gotten some success by playing with a solid backline, they may look to do the same and try and nick something from it. They do try to play with a high tempo, passing the ball rather than just route one stuff. The manager, who's been in place for a couple of seasons now, does try and get him to play the best kind of football that he can. Does look to get the best out of the players that he has at his disposal. But the link between the midfield and attack isn't the strongest. They could be more direct at times, which might see them not lose so many turnovers and give opposition sides the opportunity to score. At least I think both of the goals against Stranraer came from Stranraer turning the ball over from passes that were loose or didn't quite get to their man. And so they can be effective ways to get the ball, turn over and score or get shots away against them in those respects. In terms of their danger men, they've got a couple of experienced players that will be familiar to some. Their centre midfielder, Hetherington, for example, Stephen Hetherington, who's played for Falkirk and Motherwell in his career. He's 32, very experienced player, and obviously at the centre of their midfield is someone who will be probably key to their build-up play. They also have Connor Salmon, who can play up front. He's played on and off so far in the league, and people will be familiar with him from previous games as well. But I have picked a couple of other players. Curtis Roberts plays in the midfield. He seems to be someone that a lot of their play flows through. Again, looking at the passing maps, he appears quite frequently in a lot of the sort of top ends of the passing maps between multiple players, linking the defence to the midfield and bring the ball out. It's a bit more difficult, again, more clear stats on of the smaller teams, but we've still managed to get a little bit of them. So 74% with his passes, 52% for dribbles. So I think that kind of represents, obviously, trying to run with the ball, but getting caught out half of the time. Does chip in with a couple of goals and assists, but not hugely frequent thus far. But as I say, a useful player for them, and one that can play behind Hetherington, and does seem to be a bit of a fulcrum in terms of moving their ball around. And the other one I picked out is a youngster, 19-year-old Owen Foster, who's had a good start to the season. He's got himself assist so far already, and looks to be sort of a bright young player on that right side. No doubt if he plays, he'll come into the game excited. 19 years old, getting to play Ibrox against Rangers. I've no doubt he'll bring a lot of energy. And as I say, a lot of their attacks do come down that right-hand side with him so far this season. So he is one to keep an eye out for Alloa. Looking at the Rangers side, this is probably the most interesting selection dilemma I've had yet in terms of what I think might happen in this game. I do think we'll see a change side, obviously playing a lower level opposition. With every respect to Alloa, I think a lot of our second string players should still be a level above, and we should hopefully be getting a few exciting debuts as well in terms of potentially seeing Mikey Moore and Thelo Asgard. So I've got both of them in my team for this one. We might see Kelly, but I've just sort of stuck with Butland at the moment, just for him to keep getting, keep playing, keep getting the momentum, and continue to build on that confidence. I think we want to keep his confidence up, so he keeps playing well. I would like to see Fernandez come in, so I brought him in for Giga. I was originally going to put him in for Suter, but he has been picking Suter as captain. So I feel like he would be the one to maybe stay in. But I think obviously we've had Fernandez in for about £3 or so million, and we've not really seen him yet. So I think this is a game to give him some minutes. And similarly, I think it's a good game to bring Max Adams back in and let him play and sort of build up his confidence as well. I'd like to see a fairly attacking midfield. So I've got Rothwell back in the sitting defensive midfield position. Continuing with Lau Cameron, and then, as I say, hopefully we get to see Thelo Asgard play as well and see what he can bring to the table and start getting minutes in his legs. On the wings, I think just rest Gassman, Antman for the bigger games are coming up. Get Mikey Moore in there now that he's able to play. Get him some minutes. Get Cortez some minutes. Again, against a lower level opposition, maybe he can show what he can do. And then up top, if available and fit, then again gets minutes in the legs for Egoman. If he's either going to be sold or likely will be our first choice striker, if not, so we need to start getting him in and getting him minutes if he's available to play. If not, then I would assume that Danilo will play up front with Desser's injury. With all that in mind, I'm going to go with Mikey Moore as our game changer. As I say, really young, exciting player. A lot of us, I think, are really keen to see him start and getting minutes on the pitch. And this couldn't be a more perfect game just to introduce him nice and gently with a slightly smaller team that we'd be expected to beat and expected to beat comfortably. So do want to see him get in, show what he can do, and see if he's going to be a really strong option, someone that can really challenge for those wing positions and keep players on their toes, as well as give us just another option, a different type of player to play in those positions. He did get a goal and 2 assists in the matches he played last season. he did sort of chalk up quite a few games over the course. I think he's only started a few with cup games and Europa League games and things like that. So he does have a little bit of experience under his belt from last season. So as I say, want to get him into the team and performing as early as we can. Those are my predictions. I'm going to go for a solid 3-0 victory. It would be great if we could get 4 or 5, really just get a bit of confidence flowing through the team, get some goals chalked up where we've not been doing so domestically thus far. But to just tempering my enthusiasm a little bit by going 3-0, because I say we have struggled at the beginning of the season thus far. And I'm sure Alloa will give it their all and want to try and frustrate us as much as Dundee and Motherwell have done. So, but I'm going to say 3-0, and hopefully that takes us through the tie and into the quarterfinals. So that's our lowdown for today. So Alloa does show us an opportunity to put some changes in, get some minutes under the legs of some of the players that haven't been featuring as often. Some of the players that are coming in and coming back off of injury. This is a good game to introduce them into, to start them on their journey with the club. So hopefully we will see that and see some changes for the game. It does contradict a little bit of what I've said in some pods in terms of wanting to see continuity, but at the same time, some of these players like Moore, like Asgard, like Fernandez, I do think we need to see something from them and some minutes from them. So as I say, this is the game to do it in and keep the continuity for our bigger games. Obviously got huge matches coming up in terms of the playoffs for the Champions League, so we want everyone fit and raring to go for that. If we can get Asgard and Moore minutes in this game, then they can potentially get put into the group, I think, for these round ties if they can make 2 changes up till the night before the match, I believe. So we could potentially slip them into the European squads if they're looking like they're available and could make a difference rather than say a Kieran Dowell. So lots to play for, lots to build on, lots to work on still. So let's hope we get a good performance and a comfortable victory. But more so, the good performance, I think, would be something that would help ease the mind of a lot of Rangers fans. That's been your lowdown. Thank you again for watching. I'll be back with another lowdown at the beginning of the week for the Club Brugge game. That will be an interesting one. They've got a really interesting team, some interesting players, so do tune in for that. Until then, I hope you enjoy the match of the weekend. Best of luck to the Bears, and just remember that every night it's a Rangers Journal night. Thank you.